Okay, Nasai Minasan, today we're gonna talk about Kamen Rider Geats episode 26. This episode is subarashi insane. I love every single seconds of it, but then again, I have to say the CGI in this episode is kind of bad because like like the cinematography is there and all those stuff, but the I felt like the CGI team is not able to keep up with the story itself, because the story is the bomb. It is amazing. I love what is going on in the series right now, especially with the review that Ukiyo S is not the first. Like there is reincarnation bullshit in this story of Geats itself, and there are 4 other S past reincarnation of Ukiyo S actually joined the DGP and won in the DGP. And before, I would assume like before they die, they make the wish, their final wish is a reincarnation of mine will steal his resolve to protect the world someday, grant him the power to realize it. So this, we need to understand one thing. When Kekera talks about the DGP, he talked about how they are moving from one era to another. They went from the ancient Roman era, they went to the Sengoku era, and they went to different period of time. And I would assume this is the 5th DGP season. Like just think about how DGP is a season, and like this is like in every single DGP has season, but in every century or in every period of time, there is also kind of like a big season of DGP itself. Okay, so kind of like the first season is like the ancient Roman, and in ancient Roman there are like multiple arcs of the ancient Roman DGP, something like that, and then they move on to Sengoku, and then they move on to some other period of time, something like that. And in every single period, there is always an Ukiyo S presence in the war itself. And the first one we know is A with the name A itself, and the second one is S Garfield, and the third one is Yakumo S, and lastly is S Lee itself. So 4 different S participated in the past DGP itself. So this actually makes quite a lot of sense when S says that he actually participated in the DGP ever since the first AD. So I feel like sometimes S is kind of like missing, his mind is kind of like jumbled up with a lot of information that he didn't understand how he actually got all this information. Like maybe he knew about the twin-headed Jyamato, and he knew about how to, like in the past there is an area where the Jyamato, where the rider did manage to save the people from the Jyamato itself, and that entire area got deleted, something like that. So how does S actually have this memory? Okay, so it almost seems like he knew it from his past life, or he learned it somewhere else. Maybe there's kind of like a library in DGP. They never actually explain it, but S actually have quite a lot of information and knowledge about the DGP itself. And so when he say he joined the DGP ever since the first AD, he's not technically lying. If you consider a reincarnated soul as the same person from past life to present life, then yeah, they are the same person. That means he's not lying. But if you actually consider them as 2 separate persons, then we are gonna have a really long conversation on like whether or not a reincarnated person is the same person from the past or not. Like it is gonna be a really long story, okay? Because if you really think, if you say they are the same person, then, and if you say they are the same person, and if you watch Mushoku Tensei, then you are condoning Rudy behavior as a pedophile, because Rudy, technically speaking, is a 40-year-old old man. If you say that he is the same person from his past life, and he actually have sex with Aris, who is only like 15 or 10 years old, if not mistaken, underage, that is pedophile. Okay, so I don't know what to say here, but why am I even talking about this? Oh shit, let me move on to a few questions that I have. Okay, the first question I have is whether or not these 4 past reincarnated soul of Ukiyo S actually knows what is gonna happen in the future or not when they are making this wish, because this wish kind of like in English translation translate to a reincarnation of mine will steal his resolve to protect the world someday, grant him the power to realize it. So this is really, really interesting. When they are making this wish, if they know what is going to happen in the future, it means that they are expecting the rise of Beroba. Like Beroba is gonna come one day and just gonna take over the world, something like that. So they know they are not able to defeat Beroba or something like that. So they make this wish so that in the future Ukyo S is gonna be able to take down Beroba, something like that. Or maybe all these 4 reincarnation are suspecting the power of the DGP itself. Like 4 of them eventually learn the truth of the DGP, and eventually they know, hey, what is going on. And so what they did is kind of like, hey, I know I cannot stop the DGP, so I will need the help of my future reincarnated soul, something like that. Or maybe another possibility here that could actually be happening is that all this past reincarnation of Ukyo S has a clear understanding that no matter what he wishes for, he cannot go against the power of the DGP. So once the DGP leave, like he's not gonna be able to do anything. He's not able to protect the world, something like that, together with the goddess of creation. So he knows that he's gonna get reincarnated. He knows that eventually one of his reincarnation is gonna stumble upon the DGP once again. So this is the wish that he actually wishes for. The moment when DGP actually mess up, and this is the problem, this is the moment, this is the era, the timeline that DGP actually mess up due to the existence of Beroba. Ukyo S finally is able to tap into all the previous wishes power and to summon Boost Mark II onto his side, okay? But speaking of Boost Mark II, I felt like it should actually be called Boost Mark V, because technically speaking, there are 5 boosts in that single Mark II boost. So why is it called Mark II? I don't know. It should be called Mark V in my humble opinion, but let me know in the comment section below. So with that being said, that is the first question. Does this 4 past reincarnation of Ukyo S knows about the future or not? Me personally, the answer is no. They are making a wish for the future for a safe bet, okay, just in case kind of scenario, something like that. Like maybe this is the final wish that they make before they die, something like that, you know. That is like my first question itself. So, and my second question, I actually already kind of like talked about and discussed a little bit about it already. Would you consider them, all of them, as the same person or not? And I felt like the answer should be yes, they are in fact the same person, because a reincarnated soul is as you're kind of like your soul is transferring from one body to another, but Ukyo S himself is not able to tap into his entire memory itself, and that is why he is not able to remember about Mitsune. That could actually be it. Or maybe he does remember all the previous what am I trying to say? All the previous reincarnation life itself. And I feel like if he does remember all the previous reincarnation life memory, then he is gonna be really, really OP. And maybe that is also why the way he is talking seems kind of like not really modern Japanese, something like that. And the way he is like trying to live his life seems like all over the place. Like sometimes he refer to the past, like it is a present day, that is his way of life, and he talks about war like it is like how you should live, something like that. So it almost seems like Ukyo S could actually be having like a jumbled up memory in his mind. He has a lot of information going on in his mind, and he don't really kind of like is able to process it properly. Like he doesn't understand what is going on, but he also doesn't question it too much. Maybe that is the what is happening also. So I'm not so sure, like, okay, I'm really not so sure, because if we connect this question to the previous question that I'm asking, it almost seems like they are not supposed to be the same person. Either they have the essence of the same person, but they are not fully that person in a sense, okay? So this is something that I feel like it requires further discussion, and we need to wait what the next episode say about Ukiyo-S, because next episode we're gonna learn more about the real identity of Ukiyo-S, and this episode is just kind of like a teaser just to make the fan actually start to like, hey, what is going on? Like all the theory and bullshit is gonna come from this single episode. So really crazy stuff. But let me know in the comment section below, what do you think of this for all past reincarnation shit about Ukiyo-S itself. I actually talk about how Ukiyo-S never lies in a previous video, but then again, like I forgot what I actually said about this reincarnation thing already. I think I did mention a little bit about reincarnation, but then again, I could actually be wrong. Like, I don't want to toot my horn. It's like, I predicted it, something like that, okay? But you know, like this reincarnation thing is quite appearance, because I did actually talk about the West War theory, like how like the NPC is gonna get rebooted into a different role, something like that. So if you really think about it, that is also kind of like reincarnation. So take it whatever you want, okay? So really amazing thing we get to see here. Really love Boost Mark 2. And one little fun fact that we learn about the Jyamato in this episode is the Jyamato don't actually need any food to survive at all. All they need is water, and this is really interesting. So what is the Jyamato fighting for then? Is that okay? Like, it's like, okay, so the Jyamato exists, so what? Okay, so like, why are they fighting human? Like, is it because like it is the reason why Jyamato attack human because kind of like that is what the breeder want, or maybe like because of like what the breeder education to the Jyamato, like, hey, you should attack the rider, you should attack human. Is Jyamato bad because of the DGP itself? Because if Jyamato is bad because of the DGP, then at the end of the day, the final villain would actually be the DGP itself, because the DGP is the one that causes the Jyamato to be raised up, to have the mindset to attack human and attack human and attack human. But then again, Jyamato is also quite an invasive species based on what we see in the Jama Garden when Buffa actually went there. Like, the entire pocket dimension is filled with the tree, filled with the Jama tree, Jama vein, something like that. So I would say, even though they don't really have the need to kill human, but their existence itself is already considered a invasive species, and once we have an invasive species, like, human tends to exterminate them, tends to take them down, and that is the moment Jyamato actually tries to fight back as well. And maybe that is kind of the beginning of the conflict between Jyamato and humans, something like that. I'm not really sure what is going on here, but hopefully they are also gonna explain and kind of explore the history of Jyamato as well. Hopefully we're gonna find out that, hey, maybe Jyamato is not actually kind of like evil, but they are just being used by the people as the bad guy, something like that. I actually talk about how, like, in the future we might actually see a Jyamato that is capable to think properly like a human, and to able to realize that, hey, the thing that we are doing right now is actually a bad thing, something like that. So if you watch Hunter x Hunter, okay, like, for those who never watch anime, I recommend you watch Hunter x Hunter. It is really good, and the manga artist finally started drawing once again, so that is good news, okay? But why I talk about Hunter x Hunter is because there is an arc in the story itself. I'm not gonna give any spoiler, but there is an arc in the story called the Chimera End arc. That is like the best arc of the series so far for me personally. Chimera End arc is the best, and in the Chimera End, this Chimera End is a new species that was being born in the war of Hunter x Hunter, and all of the people all over the world is seeing them as a threat, so immediately they went out there and tried to take them down. But the thing with the Chimera End is that they are new species, they are evolving in a rapid pace, something like that, so they still couldn't find their place in the war yet, and now immediately people are already attacking them, and the Chimera Ant, or like because they got attacked so they fight back or something like that. So you see kind of like a back and forth. We thought that the Chimera Ant is actually the bad person, but if we actually allow some time for the Chimera Ant to develop as a species, to develop as a, or yeah, like as a species, they are able to cohabitat this world with the human itself. But since they never have the opportunity to do so, they got exterminated, something like that. So that maybe that is something similar to the Jyamato as well. Like eventually we're gonna get one Jyamato is able to think properly. Like we already saw that in Toru. Okay, Toru is a perfect example of what the Jyamato could actually be in the future. And in this episode, when we see the death of Toru, like Buffa is using Toru, is using Jyamatoru. Okay, so and the Jyamatoru actually sincerely believe that he is Toru, and he says that, hey bro, help me, I'm dying. So it's like, wow, it is so painful to actually see that happening. Like Buffa, just as a human, Buffa uses Jyamatoru just so that he can actually defeat Kamen Rider Geats. That is really, really insane, okay? But speaking of Jyamatoru, I the next thing I want to talk about is the artistic choice for them to show Buffa and Toru together. Like the way they show Buffa and Toru together is very similar to the Lens thing. Like I don't know how to explain, but if you watch the opening song, like there's like the Trust last opening song, like the Lens is like back and forth, something like that, and there's like kind of like a cone shaped dome glass over it every single time we see Buffa and Toru talking in this episode. It almost seems like there's something going on. Like this is not normal. This is not supposed to happen. Like what is going on? Who is the lie here? Like who is lying to the other? Like at first we are being shown, we are being led to believe that Jyamatoru is actually lying to Buffa, but apparently Buffa is actually the one that lying to Jyamatoru itself. So that is trust, kind of like a Trust last play on words, something like that. So this is really, really interesting stuff. But with that being said, that is all from me regarding Kamen Rider Geats episode 26. This is a longest video, and I just want to thank you for making it this far into the video. Thank you very much. And the secret word for you to comment in the comment section below, if you make it this far into the video, is Mark 5. Okay, Mark 5 is the secret word, because I still believe 5 bulls equals Mark 5, not Mark 2. Goodbye, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next one.